Hi, in this section I'll briefly outline infection and resistance data from two national reports. It's relevant to our daily work and gives context to the Wales UTI quality improvement work that we'll be coming on to. The first is this Public Health Wales report looking at bacterial resistance in urine samples across Wales between 2016 and 2022. And as you may well know, the good news is there's been a significant decrease in trimethoprim resistance in E. coli, and that's both from hospital and community urine samples. So this graph looks at E. coli sensitivities from community urine samples. Each column is a different antibiotic. So you can see on the right-hand side, we've got trimethoprim, and that in the section in red shows approximately 28% resistance of E. coli to trimethoprim in community samples. The resistance rate for other lower urinary tract agents such as nitrofurantoin, fosfomycin and pifmacillinam is less than 5%. If you have a look at the third column along from the left, that's coamoxiclav, and the resistance rate there is 34.5%. And that's been stable for the last 3 years. And that's why the guidelines say that pyelonephritis, the first-line agent, is cefalexin, and that we should only be using coamoxiclav if we have a urine sample showing that it's going to be sensitive. So for all antibiotics, antimicrobial resistance appears to increase with age, and it's significantly higher in the over 80s age group. And just to put that into perspective, in 2015, people over 80 had a resistance rate of 50% in E. coli resistance to trimethoprim, and that's now 34%. So moving on to the ESPAUR report, this is an annual report that covers all things antimicrobial, including prescribing, resistance rates, stewardship activities and national frameworks. The data covers to March 2023, and the report was published in November 2023. The antibiotic consumption has continued to decline by 5.3% between 2018 and 2022. We did see a small increase from 2021, and that was the first that we've seen since 2014. And that relates to the higher than usual circulating infections and increase in invasive group A strep and scarlet fever. That's December or autumn. So we've talked about E. coli resistance in urine samples. We know that if someone has a urine infection that gets worse, they could end up with a bloodstream infection. So this part of the report looks at bloodstream infections. E. coli is the most common cause, and the next most common is Staphylococcus aureus. The report states that there's been a 6% increase in patient episodes of bacteremia and or fungemia in England compared to 2019. We know that the mortality is significant for people with a bloodstream infection at about 16%, and it's slightly higher if you've got an antibiotic-resistant bloodstream infection. Older adults had the highest rate of bloodstream infections caused by resistant pathogens, and also the new chapters of this report looked at ethnicity and deprivation and found the higher rates of resistance in the most deprived quintile and also in Asian and Asian British ethnic groups. In terms of coamoxiclav, so we talked about the resistance rates in urine samples. In blood samples, the rate remains. This is just a reminder of the many resources available on the RCGP Target website. I think these reports really highlight why UTI management, getting it right, is so important to reduce morbidity and mortality. Thank you very much for listening.